Okay, so you're Mr. White, you're Mr. Red, guy in the back over there, you're Mr. Pink, you're Mr. Brown, and you're Mr. Blonde. Now, the reason why I've assigned all of you colors is because, you know, if I let people assign themselves their own colors, you get people saying, "Oh, I want to be Mr. Red. Oh, I want to be Mr. Blue. Oh, I want to be Mr. Brown." People are always saying, why is he Mr. Blonde and he's Mr. Blue and he's Mr. Yellow? And there's going to be some people who are going to say, why don't you just start the whole Reservoir Dogs review, right now? Just stop with the whole skit and just start reviewing Reservoir Dogs. So yeah, I guess I'm going to do that. So that little skit, you guys, that is from Reservoir Dogs, the film I'm going to review for you today. This is actually Quentin Tarantino's first full-length feature film. Um, I guess he did work on a film before this that really doesn't count because it's unfinished. It was kind of considered his film school. Was this film called My Best Friend's Birthday? You can find it online in some places, but this is considered his first full length feature film released in theaters. The film that he kind of counts as his first full length feature film. So in Reservoir Dogs, you guys, and here's the last shot of the cover. If you didn't see that, that's kind of the whole. That's the group of thieves right there. Um, so in Reservoir Dogs, you guys, basically this random anonymous group of people get together, and kind of like with the skit I was showing you earlier. Basically, they're all assigned different colors, random colors. They can't decide which one. The person who's in charge of the entire underground job gets to choose the color, um, and they're all assigned different tasks for this robbery for these famous little diamond things that they're looking for. This like fine jewelry from the store. And so basically, they're trying to plan out this perfect way to rob this form of jewelry, and it goes completely wrong. People get shot, people get hurt. Certain members of the group get lost throughout the film, and certain other members don't know where that other person went. And because they don't know each other by name, they only know each other by the colors they're assigned to. It's hard for someone to go out and say, "Hey, have you looked for so and so?" or "Have you looked for so and so?" Well, they don't know who so and so is because they're all assigned different colors and they're all an anonymous group of people working for um, this diamond heist. Um, so basically, that's the plot of Reservoir Dogs, you guys. It's this robbery gone completely wrong, and we get to see it piece by piece put together. Kind of the perspectives of how each person joined the group, kind of the result they had from the robbery, and we get to see it all play out in a non-linear form of storytelling, similar to what Quentin Tarantino did later on in Pulp Fiction. For the positives and negatives, you guys, I thought Harvey Keitel and Steve Buscemi's performance in this were really good. I know Harvey Keitel was definitely one of the lead producers of the film, so you can definitely tell that he was very aware of what kind of film Quentin Tarantino was trying to make, and it definitely showed in the film as his performance in this was very good and very confident in what role he had to play. Steve Buscemi was a lot of fun in this. Definitely one of the more notable performances of the film. He's another actor in the film that really knew exactly which character he was and what he was trying to be. Um, the use of flashbacks and older events in this film were very good. Definitely, a good early '90s nonlinear storytelling. So the flashbacks, older events, you kind of piece by piece put together, how the event played out because we don't get to see, the first event happen at the first time in the film, and we don't see the last event happen in the last scene of the film. They're all kind of scrambled and put together in a very unique way that because Quentin Tarantino was new at the time, it was a very unique way of storytelling because people weren't quite used to that whole nonlinear form of storytelling. Um, there was very interesting conversations in here. So if you've seen Pulp Fiction, if you've seen Django Unchained, and even if you've seen the Kill Bill films, you'll know that Quentin Tarantino is very good about dialogue, and he kind of builds up after a while with this interesting conversation that eventually leads into something big that happens eventually after the conversation gets done with, or ends abruptly with that big action event that happens. He's very well known for setting that up. And the interesting conversations in here are very interesting. There's a conversation about near the beginning of the film where they're at a Denny's and they're talking about how tipping your waitress is actually more important than some people think it is. because it's basically basically the wage they make. One of them said it's basically the job that gets college students like me and several other people out in the world. Um, basically it gets them through college and through all these big bills that they might have because some of the tips they get from their waitressing or waitering um, can be so big at times. Um, so there's a lot of interesting conversations like that happen throughout the film. I like how in this film things go wrong. I like how it's definitely a film where nothing went right. Everything was very unexpected after the robbery happened, and it keeps us guessing because it's Quentin Tarantino at the time managed to make a film that didn't play out with bad guys get together, they get the diamonds and they get away. He definitely made a film where bad guys get together, they don't know who they are, they're all anonymous. The robbery happens, some of them did good, some of them not so good, and it basically plays out by ear on how these guys handle the situation. So I like how it's a film where things go wrong and these guys have to find a way to get out of it. Um, the planning scenes are very fun in here. That's definitely the scene with everybody's being assigned a color. Definitely one of the earlier scenes that's meant to happen earlier in the story, but it's told way later on. Um, so things like that, things like planning out what they're going to do next and stuff, all of that was very well done. So the planning scenes in this film are very well done also. Um, for the negatives, you guys, I did think Pulp Fiction was the overall better film. It's still my favorite Quentin Tarantino film. And basically everything Pulp Fiction did was basically an improvement upon Reservoir Dogs. Like the conversations were more interesting in Pulp Fiction. The storyline was better in Pulp Fiction. The non-linearness of Pulp Fiction seemed better and more well established. The whole setting up the action with the action being very explosive, that felt better in Pulp Fiction. So what I'm trying to say is basically everything Reservoir Dogs may be known for is better done in Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction I also thought had better acting than Reservoir Dogs. Like I said before, Harvey Keitel and Steve Buscemi's performance are very good in Reservoir Dogs, but I felt the overall film of Pulp Fiction had better acting with better performances that were turned in. Um, I thought this film very much poorly depicted cops. There's some scenes in here where it's just like, you would think they would have like bulletproof vests or they would approach these criminals, in a more professional way. Because there was just a lot of scenes in here where whatever cops they got or whatever cops Quentin Tarantino wrote into the script, they feel very stupid. They don't feel like, like for example, Harvey Keitel shoots at one of them in one scene, and they don't get out of the car, they don't duck, they don't do anything. They're basically cops ready for slaughter in this scene, and it's played out in a way that I didn't want it to play out in. So Quentin Tarantino, if you really wanted to prove him on the script, I mean, really, you should have depicted cops better. Um, the film's ending was very sloppy. Also, it definitely ended because it had to end. It had that kind of a feeling to it. Um, it just felt very sloppy. It felt like it went on too long. So the ending of this film I thought should have ended better. Maybe they should have done what Silence of the Lambs did, because Silence of the Lambs came out around this time. This film came out also. Maybe one of them got away. Maybe one of them disappeared. Maybe the cops got there and one of them was gone, and it was a mystery of where that other person went. And they could have done something like that. But the ending they had here really felt sloppy, and it didn't really, to tell you the truth, it just really didn't feel that good. I left the film saying to myself, that ending could have been a lot better. Um, Tarantino's style, you can definitely tell, was an early development here. Um, because this was his first feature length film, I will go easy on him and say, I could see why you were, developing your style for your later films. Um, but the fact that it did still feel in development, you can definitely tell that he wasn't quite the professional at the time that he is now. So I don't know. The film felt very amateurish in that sense. Not a bad thing, but you can kind of feel the amateurish vibe at certain points in the film. But overall, guys, I do give Reservoir Dogs an 8.5 out of 10. It's very good. It's not Quentin Tarantino's best film. I know it's his first film. Pulp Fiction and Kill Bill Volume 1 are probably my two favorite Quentin Tarantino films. I would even go so far as to say I think I like Django Unchained better than this film also. But it's very good, guys. If you like Quentin Tarantino, it's definitely worth checking out simply because this is his first full length feature film. At the time, there were some very revolutionary things done with this. But I got to be honest though, if you really want to see Quentin Tarantino's best film, like the best film he ever worked on, make sure it's Pulp Fiction. Um, but it's a good film, you guys. If you like Quentin Tarantino, Reservoir Dogs is definitely worth checking out.